Yes. So today we'll be learning how to add fractions with unlike denominators. We are going to focus on using visual fraction models such as linear and area models to help understand. But before we begin, we need to review some definitions. First, we're going to review the definition of fractions. A fraction is a broken up equal sized pieces. And then a numerator, which is the top number on a fraction, it represents the number of equal sized pieces you're interested in. A denominator, which is the bottom number, tells us how many equal sized pieces the whole is divided into. So, now with that being said, we're going to look at two fractions, 2/3 and 2/6. Okay, so first, by looking at this, we're going to try and figure out which one is bigger. But before we begin, we have to simplify one of these numbers. Well, 2/3 cannot be simplified any smaller, but 2/6 can, or 2 out of 6 can. So we look at the number and we try and find a number that can be divided into both, aside from 1. And so that would be 2. So 2 can be divided by both of these. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. And 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So the new fraction is 1/3. So now we're going to compare 2/3 and 1/3. I actually have these fraction tiles. And so there's 1/3, which is 1. And then 2/3 makes up 2 pieces. And then comparing the other 1/3. And so just by looking at these fraction tiles, you can tell that 2/3 is bigger than just 1/3. And so we're going to say that 2/3 is greater than 1/3. And if we decided that we wanted to add these, we could push this together and actually have 1, 2, and 3/3. So it would be 3/3, which actually equals 1. Okay, so tell me when. Go. Okay, so now that we've reviewed, we are going to read this problem and figure out how to work it. So Mary and Kyle went to a birthday party. Mary took home 1/4 of the cake. I'm going to circle 1/4. And Kyle took home 1/3 of the cake. Circle 1/3. Those are important numbers. How much cake did they take in total? Well, total means to add. So we have 1/4 plus 1/3. And let's see what it equals. I'm going to set this aside. And we are first going to look at our linear model. So I already drew out the lines to save time, but this top graph is 1/3, the second is 1/4. And so we're going to be adding those two together. So if we have 1/3, you always start at the 0 and you go all the way to 1/3. And make sure that whenever you're drawing out these lines that they are equal, because all fractions are broken up into equal sized pieces. So 1/3 of the whole. And then 1/4 is from 0 to 1/4. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but these other notches, like that says 2/4 and 3/4 and then 4/4 is a whole. So if we add these two together, 1/3 plus 1/4, it would end up, let's see what it equals. But first we have to subdivide it. So if I subdivide 1/3, I am going to divide it into fourths. So there's half, and there's 1, and there's 1. So I just subdivided it into 4s. Well, I'm also going to subdivide 1/4 into thirds. So there is fourths. So if we add these together, it would, or if we multiply these together, 3 times 4 is 12. So okay, so we're going to continue doing this throughout the graph. We're going to subdivide both of these. So I subdivided 1/3 into fourths, and to get to 2/4, I'm going to subdivide it, or to get to 1/3, I'm going to subdivide it into fourths, and then another fourths. And then so if we count all of these, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 12 is equivalent to 1/3. And then I'm going to subdivide 1/4 into thirds. So I already have the first one, and I'm going to continue doing that throughout. So again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 1, 2, 3. So 3 over 12 is equivalent to 1/4. So if I add these together, now that we have the same denominator, I have both 12 and 12, I can add the numerators together. So 3 plus 4 equals 7. So I'm going to find 7 out of 12 and mark that. And that is how you find where it stops. And that is how you find a fraction with unlike denominators using a linear model. Linear model. Okay, and then I have one other, which is an area model. And again, I already drew out the lines to help save time. And so if we look at these rows, I have 1, 2, 3. So this represents 1/3 because it is broken up into 3 columns, and or 3 rows, and I'm going to color in 1 row. And then this rectangle is broken up into fourths. So this is going to represent 1/4, and it is going to represent 1/4 because I'm going to color in 1 column. So, like the linear model, if you were to add these on top of each other, place 1/3 on top of 1/4, 1/3 would be colored in right here. So that would represent 1/3. And then 1/4 would be represented right here. But since this square would be colored on double, you have to make up for that square right there. So if we count these all together, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 7 out of 12. And that is, again, 1/3 plus 1/4 equals 7 out of 12. And now with this knowledge, we know how to add fractions with unlike denominators. And that is it.